Hey y'all, welcome to my new podcast, Brave Women Talk. I have a special guest with me, Alana. So, how do you think Nadira's Health Spot has helped you in your mental health journey or overall journey so far?
I definitely have been going through some things as I found out my stepdad passed away. So I think definitely it has been a good reminder of these things when there's like on Tuesdays and just specific days. I really appreciate the fact that I have someone else to, give these reminders out. And it has also helped me by, encouraging me to share my story. Um,
Mhm.
and just knowing, it's never too late because I feel like a lot of times I see other people, they're already on stage or doing this and that, but it has helped me understand like this is my own journey.
Going back to, what you were saying about it's never too late to talk about it. There's so many people that don't talk about it because they feel like they're going to be judged or they feel like it's way too late. And honestly, it's never too late. It's again, like you said, it's your journey. It's up to you when you want to come out and talk about it. Whatever type of health issue it is. What advice do you have for anyone who's going through mental health or just health in general? Like, what do you feel like the number one thing they need to really focus on?
The number one thing is really tapping in to yourself and just focusing on yourself. I think that, well, I know that a lot of people, look outside of themselves because it's easier. Like, who wants to really deal with the harder things? It hurts. But I think it's really important to just be like, okay, I'm gonna like take time for myself. And I think for me, how I learned that and why it's my number one thing is because, in school I was always trying to focus on my grades because, I wanted to go to college. So I felt like I needed to stay focused. And I went to see a therapist for the first time my ninth grade year, well, my 10th grade year.
Mhm.
And the therapist was like, yeah, like if you like you just need to focus on yourself at this point. Like grades, yes, they do matter, but at the same time, your mental health is important. If you would like to keep moving and progressing, then your mental health is literally the way. That's what's gonna help you go further in life is when you're mentally good and you just face the fact that and mental health is it's just really it has a big stigma, and at this point
Yeah.
I would think that it would be normalized, but it's not.
I went to multiple therapists during college and even before that. But I have this one mentor, I actually call her my campus mom. She is the dean, the associate dean of my college that I went to. And so
Hmm.
she was just like, um, if you aren't good, if you aren't straight, nothing else matters. Like, why are you even worrying about everything else? Like, you're over here talking about, oh, I don't feel good on these medications. So, okay, then go get a second
Hmm.
diagnosis. Like, why are you over here stressing? Like, do better. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And honestly, I wish mental health was more talked about. I mean, it's getting better, but honestly,
Hmm.
it's not right? Especially for minorities.
It can be hard to talk about your story and then be like, okay, so am I talking to people who understand or talking to people who need to know about these things? So I'm just really thankful that you're inviting me here and I'm excited.
I've become so passionate about just connecting with people who have a similar story because there's, again, going back to minorities, there's so many people like us that were ignored because we're supposed to live up to a certain expectation.
Hmm.
So, connecting with so many people in college that were similar to me, regardless of what they look like, it just made me feel so much better. Because originally I wasn't even going to talk about anything that was happening. Then I was just
Hmm.
like, well, let's forget about me. Let's focus on everybody else who is going through the same thing. Because, like, I'm really good at reading people's energy. So I was just like, let me suck this up and just do it for somebody else. And then I ended up doing it for myself.
Oh, I actually had a question for you. So like how did your because I know you also talk about Christianity and your mental health together a lot. So how did you find those two things, or when did you find those two things, the same? Like, how did those two things mix for you?
I was baptized in 2010. Mental health was always an issue for me, but again, we didn't normalize it. So I didn't know I was really like going through challenges with my mental health until my first year in college. When I had an anxiety attack and it was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder. So like I was praying a lot. I've always had a pretty good relationship with God. Um, and literally I would just like literally before any time I do something, I would always pray to him, be like, call him up, be like, yo, I'm struggling. I'd be like, I'm struggling. Why am I on this medication?
Facts,
So
facts.
he would literally like be like, you need to chill out. So I would go to literally everyone I could, who
Mhm.
would hear me and not just be like, you're crazy, or I don't know what you're talking about, or like, why are you stressing over nothing? So it took me a while, but again, back to your question, just praying about just feeling good mentally and physically is really how that came into play. And when I graduated, I was just like, so many people are coming to me about me coming out about my mental health. So why not put it together? Because I wouldn't be where I am today without God. Obviously, I have
Mhm.
my family, I have my friends, and I have everybody else that has been supporting me. But like, I can't,
Ultimately,
yeah, I can't
ultimately.
thank people without God. God put these people on the earth to help me, right?
My faith has also been very strong from a young age, even before I like, started having mental health problems and complications. Um, but I think since, I had such a strong faith, it really helped me through my mental health. But when I, got diagnosed with, anxiety and depression, PTSD, and all of these things, I started to question myself. And it wasn't immediately, but it was when I felt, at my lowest point. When depression can really hurt you, but
Mm.
I think that's when a lot of people run away from their faith.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to, but definitely surrounding yourself with those people, like you said. And that can be hard too, because as a minority, it's like keep it in, keep it in.
Yeah.
But it's so important to literally tell someone about it, even if it's someone you trust, but you've never told them something about, mental health. Just open up to them, because it could be helping them as well. But
Yeah.
I think definitely prayer and just having one person or multiple people to be like, hey, I'm struggling, can you pray for me? Like,
Mhm.
and God is the real MVP. And I really agree with, like, at the end of the day, when you like suffer from these, not even suffer, but when you go through these things, it's
Mhm.
hard not to really be like, thank you, God. Because it's like,
Yeah.
yo, you're really at the bottom. You're literally, it's so dark. You're just like, who am I? But
Yeah.
when you come out, you learn more about yourself than you even knew. So it's like you just gotta thank God about it. But faith is definitely an important piece. And I think whether you are a Christian or a Muslim or whatever, like it's really important to just tap into your, spiritual self, because that's really what's
Mhm.
gonna help you. Because it's gonna be people who turn away from you, who are also not even sure how they're feeling mentally, or there's gonna be people who hurt you, and those are the people who are around. So it's like you don't know if you can trust them, but definitely spiritual and mental health definitely go together, I think. So it's really important to just stay focused on yourself.
Thank you so much, Alana. I really enjoyed our first podcast together. That was such a great start on just like mental health and just helping people. And I really hope like we get a lot more people on so they can really share their mental health journey.